In this video, I'm going to explain a little bit more about JumpRope, which is the grading system we use at LPS. Now, first I want to say the screen that you're seeing right now is not going to look exactly the same as the screen you see when you log into JumpRope. Unfortunately, there's just not a way for me as a teacher to look at the student version, and so I know at first it might be a little bit confusing when you look at your version, but it's basically the same information and you should be able to figure it out. Now, JumpRope is fairly complicated, so I'm going to try to break it down on a pretty basic level and tell you the most important things you need to know. The first thing you need to know about JumpRope is that it uses something called mastery-based grading. This might be different from what you used in middle school to think about and look at your grades. Basically, that means that rather than all of the assignments being put into the gradebook sort of in one category and then averaged into a grade, we use something called learning targets, which is a way to break down assignments based on skills. So it actually makes it a lot easier for you as a student to see what areas in a class you're doing really well in and what areas you might be struggling in or need extra support in. So I've just picked a random students to use as an example. Again, I know this is not going to look exactly how your student version looks, but it's got the same concepts. So let's click on this student's English class. You're going to see two things pop up: overall academic mastery and overall habit mastery. Most grades that you're going to be concerned about and wanting to look at are going to be in the academic mastery section. For English, the habit grade section is mostly for turning assignments in on time or not. So for example, a major assignment such as the influencers project is going to have both an academic grade, meaning how well did you actually do on the presentation, and then a habit grade. The habit grade I grade based on did you turn it in on time or not. So if you turn it in on time, you get 100% for your habit grade. If you turn it in a day late, it drops to 70, and every day after that, it drops 10%. So for example, if we click on the student's habit mastery section and then click on Unit 0, the unit we're in, and then this is a learning target. I'll just close it so you can see how it looks before. Learning targets always start with I can. So this one says, I can demonstrate strong academic habits by completing work on time, following all directions, and keeping my materials organized. So this assignment, Influencers Project, is under this learning target because part of this project was completing the work on time. This person did complete it on time, so they got 100%. So for this category, for the part of the assignment that was turning it in on time, they got an A. Now we can close this section and look at the academic mastery section. We'll click on Unit 0. And then we'll go down to speaking and listening. I can demonstrate speaking and listening skills because this is where the Influencers Project academic grade is. So when you look under this learning target, you'll see the participation grades. And again, you can tell which week they're for because they have the date. Here's the most recent score for this student. And then Influencers Project is under this learning target as well. Now you may be confused because you're like, well, why is it under two learning targets? But again, it's because learning targets are assessing different skills. So remember, the student had 100% in the other learning target because that part was assessing, did they turn it in on time? They did, they got 100%. This, remember, is in the academic section. So this is how well did they do on the presentation? How well did they demonstrate their speaking and listening skills? They demonstrated it pretty well. They got a 90. So it's really common to see the same assignment under multiple learning targets because we're assessing multiple skills. With the Influencers Project, I assessed how well could you present in front of the class and create a presentation, but I'm also assessing could you turn an assignment in on time. So that's why there are two different learning targets for one assignment. Now sometimes it's going to get a little crazy and you're going to see one assignment under a lot of learning targets. For example, essays. When we're writing an essay, we're using many different skills to write that essay. And so we break it down by learning target, and that actually makes it easier for you to see which skills are you strong in within essay writing and which do you need more support in. So for example, one of the skills we need to write an essay is to develop a claim or a thesis. If I click on this learning target, the giver diagnostic is going to pop up. Remember, I said it wasn't actually going to count as part of your grade, so it has a weight of 0, meaning it doesn't affect your grade. Now you'll see for developing a claim, this person got a 90%. For that specific skill, they got a 90. If we close this and look at another piece of essay writing, I can fully support a claim with relevant evidence. That's a different skill than writing a claim, so it's under a different learning target. Again, we see the same assignment that we saw under this learning target because I'm assessing multiple skills with the same assignment. it looks like this one, the person got a 65 with their evidence. So they are stronger at writing claims at this point than they are at using relevant evidence. We can also look at using a clear structure. Again, we see the same assignment, but a different skill being assessed. This person got a 75, so they're a little stronger with their structure than they are with their evidence. And then we can also look at commentary. They got a 65. So we can tell their strongest skill at this point is developing a claim, and their biggest areas of growth are finding relevant evidence and writing commentary. You'll also see this assignment under conventions, meaning how well do they have a command of capitalization, punctuation, spelling, etc. They have a 95, so they're pretty strong in that too. Okay, I'm going to close these and talk now about weights. Now, weighting is something that is a little different in English than in other classes because English specifically, we care about some skills more than others. For example, we think that it's really important to write strong commentary. That's a really important skill, so we've given that a weight of 5. That basically means that any assignment that goes under this learning target is going to affect your grade more. It has a heavier weight in your grade. We care about writing commentary more than we do for, say, having strong conventions. That's still important, but we think it's more important that you know how to explain evidence and express your ideas than it is to know where to put a comma. So that has a lower weight. Assignments can also be weighted differently within learning targets. So maybe a final essay within this section is going to have a heavier weight than a practice that we do. Again, this is a weight of 0, so it doesn't actually affect your grade. The weighting that you see in English might be different than in other classes. What's important to keep in mind is you want to do well on all assignments regardless of weight, but it just shows that we prioritize certain things in English over others.